Hi, my name is Jen, and this is my first income report for April 2023. Now, I do have a portfolio of 4 websites, and I am officially 2 years in because I started back in May of 2021. So let's deep dive in. I love hearing all the backgrounds of how people got into blogging, so I'm going to give you my quick and background here. So I started out in e-com, mostly on Etsy, and been on there since 2013. And then one of the Etsy groups that I was in had mentioned starting a website to sell your stuff off of Etsy and to start a blog to try to draw traffic. Well, I fell in love with blogging and that traffic gain. I really just enjoyed the game of it, if you will. But I kind of fell out of love with having a handmade product. And so within 2 years now, I have 4 websites in my portfolio. So you may be asking, why the heck am I on YouTube? Well, I love watching the income reports, and it's fascinating to see some of these sites make $10, $20, $50,000 a month, because that's crazy, insane money. And you see all these things where people are like, it's so easy, anyone could do it. And the reality is blogging's hard. And I personally, even though I took some different courses along the way, I still think I made just an insane amount of mistakes. And that's not the course's fault, that's my fault. I'm not technically savvy at all. So I feel like maybe I can help some new people that are starting out to kind of skip the mistakes that I did. And then plus, I really feel like it's time to start branching out and meeting more and more people in like the niche website owner community. So hopefully this is just entertaining. And at the end, hopefully you can kind of point out where I went wrong. So site number 1, it's in the personal finance niche. This is my main site. And I had signed up for income school in December, the very, very end of 2021. And I already kind of knew what niche I wanted to go in. And I totally didn't listen to the course at all because they told you probably 30 times, don't go in a YMYL niche for your first site. And I was so passionate about it. I was like, screw it, I'm going for it anyway. So I started from scratch, really had no idea how to work WordPress because I had previously worked on Shopify, and you'll find out about that in a minute. But this site, it's a total of 16 months old. It has 339 posts, 30 of which were written in April. It's been monetized since May 2021 with AdSense, and I switched from AdSense to Sheet Media in April. And because I had already kind of predetermined my niche before I took the course and I didn't really follow how they did it, I had one direction. And then after about 6 months of keyword research and competitive analysis and really kind of understanding why they said don't pick a YMYL niche, I pivoted into a very niche down section of this topic. And that's where it's really gone. So even though it's 16 months old, I really feel like it's about a year old. And to make that make more sense, if you look at the lifespan of this site on Google Analytics and then Google Search Console, you can see there's, for the first year, it didn't really do anything. And I had lots of issues with indexing, and I had a lot of technical issues. That was totally my fault, and I'll go into that on another day. But yeah, so it wasn't until like the last 8 months that this has really started to grow. Now for Google Analytics, comparing March to April, we had almost 11% growth. It went from 14.7K page views to 16.2. So I was pretty happy with that. In Google Search Console, we went from 9.13 clicks to 10.2K clicks. And does anyone else get like stupidly excited when you get the email saying that you've won a new trophy because you hit so many clicks in 28 days? Because I do. Now, this main site had been on AdSense for a super long time, and the revenue it made in March was $89.62. And I was so excited because I almost hit 3 digits, but not quite. So at the end of March, I had been wanting to wait till I hit 20K page views to apply for She Media. And then I saw some people mention that they were able to get in with only having 15,000. And since I had like 14.7, I was like, screw it. I can't wait. I'm going to go ahead and apply. And so I did. This was at like on a Friday night, March 31st. And I was shocked because Monday morning, April 3rd, I had an approval email. So it took about 2 days to switch over from AdSense to She Media, and it was actually pretty simple. So, very happy about that. So, as far as revenue goes, for the first couple days, it made $10.21 on AdSense, and the the RPM shows that it was $4.82. The previous month, it was a little over 6, but it wasn't a full month, so I wasn't too concerned. Now I switched over to She Media, and about April 10th, I realized that the amount of sessions on their dashboard was only about half of what was on Google Analytics. So I reached out to them. Turns out that for the GDPR settings, I had it set where everyone had to do it, not just the areas that are required. And so my ads were only showing to half the people. So that's stinks. So they fixed that. And then I was like, oh, let's just give it another week and see how it goes. Because I mean, my earnings were like pitiful for that first week. And then so they started to improve a little bit, but I realized that from April 5th to April 17th, my RPM was only $2.70. That's half of what AdSense was. And I was like freaking out. So I reached out to She Media again and was like, hey, I would have assumed y'all would have paid better than AdSense. And they realized that I only had one ad per page. So they flipped a switch or do whatever they do. And all of a sudden now I had video player and in content, and it was starting to look like a regularly like display ad site. And as soon as that happened, then my RPM jumped up to $14.05. And I had like the woohoo, I'm winning moment because that was like 3 times what I was making on AdSense. Now, granted, it's still pennies, but it showed me where this could go. So for the month of April, we made a total of $107.85, and I broke the 3-digit barrier. Okay. After, 2 years, I'm freaking excited. Now I'm calling this site number 2, and it's my passion project. But technically, this blog started on Shopify. And how this all came about was with trying to sell my handmade product. I realized that the blogging part was more fun, but Shopify comes with its own issues. So I had tried to monetize with a Zoic, but I could not get through the process. And maybe I'm seriously not technical and couldn't figure it out, but it crashed my website a couple times. I was just done. So then I was like, well, at least it could earn pennies. So I signed up for AdSense, and I couldn't figure out how to get the code into Shopify. And I'm like, well, this is silly. The Shopify site isn't selling anything and it's getting traffic, but I can't monetize it. So I was like, that's it. The Shopify was getting ready to only have a couple months left that was prepaid for. So I was like, let's just move this to WordPress and kind of start it over as just a blog, not commerce. So I did that, and I literally copy and pasted all of the articles and then did a 301 redirect. And you can see on the Google Analytics part, like, oh, excuse me, this is Google Search Console. You can see at the beginning, it picked right up. There was no sandbox. It had no issues. And then all of a sudden, right about 2 months in, it dropped. And this is when Shopify officially closed. And so all of those redirects stopped. And it gets an amazing CTR. So I was excited about that. And I kept waiting for the impressions and the clicks to go back up. But this thing has just leveled out. And because it's a passion project, I can't really let it go, even though I probably should. But it has a total of 67 articles. 10 were written in April. And honestly, for about 4 months, I didn't write anything. It just sat there. So after that huge drop, I still wanted to see if it would recover. So that's why I keep kind of pushing it along. But in April, it had a whopping 422 page views, and that was an 11% increase. So this is not big at all. Okay, site number 3, I had I kept stumbling across these keyword phrases, and I desperately wanted them to work on my main site, but I realized that the target audience wasn't quite the same. It was different. So I decided I these are like gold nuggets I have to pick up. So I decided to start number 3. And this is in the food niche, but it's not recipes. And back in March, this site had about 397 views, and then in April it jumped almost 200% up to about 1,200 views. So I was like getting really, really excited. And since it was so small in March, it really only made 59 cents. But with the added growth, it jumped up to $6.06. So we're starting to get somewhere. And the RPM isn't horrible. It's $5.38, which is a little bit lower than my main site when it was on AdSense. But I know that the more it grows, the RPM seems to go up as well. So this shows potential. Now, back in March, it appears that the whole SEO world went crazy over koala. And one of my good friends, Keith, had mentioned it in his newsletter. And I was like, you know what? I so want to try this because I only have the capacity to handwrite like maybe 25, 30 articles a month. And if this could even double my output, this really opens up some doors. But I wanted to test it. So I started site number 4, which is in an informational food niche. And it's on a broad idea, but I had like 30 different topic clusters, and I really only started the first one. And as of April 30th, I has 21 posts, 16 of which were written in April, and I applied for AdSense on April 10th. And from previously applying for AdSense, it doesn't usually take that long to hear back. And I've applied within a month or two of starting a website, so I know it's possible. And for some reason, it was really weird. I wasn't hearing anything back from them. And then April 19th, the site was absolutely demolished by the Google update. Like it dropped and it has not recovered in April yet. So we'll see how that works. I think I'm still going to keep posting a few new articles on this, but I mean, we have Google updates all the time. So maybe it's just going to take another update for it to bump it back in. So in April, my plan was to post 75 new posts, and I actually did a total of 76, which is pretty awesome. But in May, I decided to switch around where I put the articles. And so my main focus, is, of course, is on the main site, but my secondary focus is going to be on the food site that's actually improving a lot. And then my passion project, I'm going to just post 1 to 2 a week. And then on the AI site, I'm just going to post 2 a week and see if either one of those will show any signs of life at all. So, whew. Okay, so we got through it. That was my first income report. And to be honest, that was kind of nerve wracking. And I'm hoping that this gets better. So, how did I do? What do I need to change? I'd like to improve before next month. And leave me a comment and let me know what I can improve or change. And if you have any questions about the sites or my e-commerce background, um, hopefully the first week of June we'll have May's up there. Spoiler alert, things changed a little. So, anywho, hope your sites are doing well. Leave me a comment. Thanks. Bye.